Welcome to Beyond Our Focus. I'm Stefan, this is Amanda, and this is Breaking Prisms, where we go over Twilight Zone and Black Mirror. Currently, we're going over the season finale of season 4 of Black Mirror. Yeah, it's weird. I know, I said it all wrong, wonky. But the season finale of season 4, which concludes all of Black Mirror. We've gone officially through every ounce of Black Mirror. Amanda has now seen all of it.
Yes. We went 1, 2, 3,
5.
Bandersnatch 5, and
4.
then 4.
Yeah, it was a weird path, but we're there.
We're
it's
good.
all right. It's not a big deal. This one called Black Museum.
Yes. And now that sorry, you brought up the whole weird pattern thing, and I'm actually super happy we did it this way.
Why? Because we ended on a strong note
Yes.
and didn't end with season 5?
Because of how unhappy I was with season 5, I think it would have just left this bitter blanus.
Well, I agree completely. It would have been just a really, really bitter taste left in your mouth in the end of season 5. But coming back to season 4, watching that, it's like, yay, season 4 overall has been really well.
I think I'm just going to push 5th off the side of the table like a cat with a glass of water.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call this the end of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense. We can pray. I mean, we're going, no matter what, we will get a season 6.
And here comes the storm.
Yeah. Because Netflix owns it. They're going to make more. It's a big thing for them. But we need a return to form. We need something that's like seasons 1 through 4 in Bandersnatch, and we don't need anything that looks like season 5 again.
No.
You know what? Twilight Zone, you keep doing that because you were good at that.
But, okay, so going back, sorry I kind of sidetracked us there for a minute.
Yeah, top level thoughts here on season, whatever, on Black
season
Museum.
4.
Episode 6.
Yes.
Black Museum.
It was fantastic.
It was.
It
was really good.
If you have not seen this episode, even before we talk about it at all, go watch it. It was definitely worth it. It was like watching 3 little mini movies. If you've seen any anthology movie ever where they get short little stories, that is what this is. So we got an anthology.
It felt like
anthology?
it felt like a little short story. It felt like if you'd ever picked up like a little book that had little short stories in it. It felt like that.
Nightmares and Dreamscapes. It's a Stephen King anthology.
I have one of his somewhere, or I have had some of his stuff. I don't even know, but yeah, I mean that's what it felt like. It was just this story that had a narrative and told 3 short stories within it. So,
which episode was it? Is it White Christmas?
I mean that was an episode.
Yes, I think. When I was looking at the Easter egg / references kind of stuff, they said something how they modeled it after that one to have 3.
Yeah, because it didn't tell 3. It told this guy's life to a degree. So, but he told it like 3 different separate stories of things he had done.
Well, it also had the. I thought it also had the other guy's story.
Yeah, it had both of theirs.
Yeah,
but
so
that was more like backstory on them. I mean, this kind of I guess was in a way too.
As I said, it just modeled. They said they modeled this one.
I completely agree because I think even that was a bonus episode to season 2. I think that's what made it 4 episodes instead of 3 like the original. Was kind of an afterthought, kind of like I guess almost like Bandersnatch.
Yeah.
But the whole premise of this is we watch Letitia Wright.
Yes.
Who you would, if everyone on the planet has seen Black Panther
or Avengers: Infinity War or Endgame.
She was most prominent.
Yeah.
In Black Panther as Black Panther's little sister, Shuri.
Yes.
So, and she is great in this.
Oh, yeah.
She's great in that. I mean, she, in my opinion, is probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
So, she was fantastic, and she's great in this. And she drives out into the middle of a desert and goes to this Black Museum.
Pretty much, her vehicle, which is our first technology piece in this Black Mirror episode, is she has to charge her car because it's out of fuel.
Yeah, charge it in a nice little solar panel way, which was really interesting.
It was just like a fold out
solar panel, and she plugged in the back of the car and was like, all right, I've got 3 hours to kill.
Yeah.
And goes into this where we meet technically the starring character of the show.
Yes. Rollo Haynes.
Rollo Haynes, played by Douglas Douglas, what did I say his name was? Hodge? I think Hodge. Yeah, Hodge. Okay. Interesting last name. Who I don't know him from much, but he's been in quite a few things, including the new Lost in Space thing that they did, which I enjoyed. But so we go in there, and he has a bunch of weird, interesting things in this museum that is complete and total callbacks to so many episodes. It's not even funny of Black Mirror.
Pretty much picture any kind of, I wouldn't say run of the mill, but the most touristy mystery house you can think of. Like, just
what I think of, like Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, this cool thing and this cool thing and this weird and wonky thing.
Yeah.
But this is instead. I mean, they could have called this. I mean, this museum is like a museum of Black Mirror.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because almost everything in the museum is a callback to a previous episode we've watched already.
Yes.
So it was really cool to see. Oh, I know what that's from, and I know what that's from, and I know what that's from, and it's like.
So all these little things are on display. And so he says that most people are freaked out, they can't stomach it, and she seems pretty well just
adjusted.
Yeah, she's like, I got nothing else to do, I'm gonna just go here.
Since this is going to be something original and not so much of what we've already seen, he picks out a few items we don't know anything about and tells little stories about how he had a part in what this technology was and who this person was in their little story. And those are the things that happen through this. And that's kind of what we follow.
Yes. So, what do we think about the episode?
What do we think about this phenomenal example of Black Mirror? I don't know. What could we possibly think?
We will give you guys 5 seconds to come up with an answer. What do you think we're going to say? Just 5 seconds.
To maybe one of the best episodes of Black Mirror. What do you think we're going to say?
5 seconds.
It's been 5 seconds. We're still giving 5 seconds. We're just 5 seconds.
I was hoping they Blue's Clues the thing at 5, okay?
Is that where you're going
yes.
with? Oh, okay. I didn't even catch that. Okay? So I don't know how they were going to catch it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, anyways.
Yes, as she just said. Yes, we're totally 5 companion cubes. We lost nothing on this episode. It is a great episode. It's never boring. It's never not interesting.
It is bizarre. It is what you expect from a bizarro touristy trap kind of museum. It's just, you get the really good acting, you get all the science technology. Even though we've seen some of it, it was cool to see it build up and build in different ways. This was almost like the backstory to some of the technology we've had.
Because we see, this has so much technology we've seen before with some added twist to a lot of it, but it also starts kind of in a past period, and we see how a lot of it progressed to get to what we've seen in previous episodes, which was really interesting.
And the cool thing was, it was almost as if this was the precursor to all the, like, to a lot of different technology that we did get. Like, like some of the things they had were also, I guess you would say, afterthoughts, considering that the references that made already happened. Like, I mean, she did reference the whole, is that, oh, you mean like the old people going in and...
Mm-hmm. So we got to see a lot of cool stuff. San Junipero gets referenced an insane amount of times in this. But on top of that, we see references to like White Christmas we were talking about a minute ago.
Yes.
Big thing on White Christmas. I mean, this really plays with White Christmas a lot. My opinion. The whole taking someone and moving them around.
Oh, yes.
Because that is a big thing. A huge thing in White Christmas.
Yes.
So that's a big part of that. And then there's a bunch of tiny references. But
we got White Bear. We got...
USS Callister from earlier this
Hated
season.
by the Nation.
We get every episode from this season.
Yes.
Pretty clearly spelled out. But San Junipero and White Christmas, I think, are the most predominant ones that we got from this one.
Yes.
Those are like instrumental to what the story tells.
Yay!
So, phenomenal episode. If you have not seen it, go watch it. Go watch it.
Especially if you feel so disappointed by the last season, go back and either rewatch this one, or if you just hopped in right into the 5th season with Black Mirror and that was your first experience, please go back. Please go back. Do not give up on Black Mirror based off that.
Everyone's got different opinions about different episodes. So far, out of the 5 seasons, we have our favorites have been San Junipero, or my favorites personally, has been San Junipero and Hang the DJ.
Yes.
Those are my favorite episodes. San Junipero being number 1, Hang the DJ being number 2. After watching this again, it falls right in line with number 2. It's 2 or 3. It's 2 or 3. It's a really great episode. It's one of the best I think Black Mirror has to offer.
I think it has a little bit for everyone.
But I think it also helps if you've seen everything.
Yes.
All the references and seeing all the callbacks and everything makes it more enjoyable. It's like watching the Avengers after you've seen all the previous solo movies.
Yeah.
It's cool to see them all teamed up and see all these cool things that you're seeing all together finally at once. It has that effect to it.
Collaboration
So
effect.
it makes it more enjoyable because it has so many touchstones to everything you've seen previously.
Yes, it is the biggest crossover besides Bandersnatch.
Yeah, well, I mean, even more so than Bandersnatch.
Yes.
Especially, of course, has callbacks, but a lot of the episodes have callbacks to certain other ones.
Yeah.
Tucker appears in so many episodes, it's not even funny.
TCKR.
Tucker.
Not a person named Tucker.
Tucker Soft, Tucker Nightclub, Tucker. Whatever you want to say at any particular time, Tucker appears a lot.
Saint Juniper Hospital.
Because we didn't rate Bandersnatch, did we?
I don't remember. I think we didn't start our rating system until after.
It was the very next thing that we started doing ratings. So, that was pretty great. I love Bandersnatch.
I love Bandersnatch. Oh my goodness, that was insane.
But going through all the endings and everything, and all the multiple paths and things you could do, it's like, they put an insane amount of thought into this, and it does some weird and wonky stuff. It's way cool. Yes. Robert eventually watched it. Got to one ending and quit watching it.
Why?
One of the early endings. It's like, yeah, an ending like this. Like, buddy, you missed so much. It's not even funny. Go back.
He apparently didn't get the tragic endings then. Holy
No.
crap.
He didn't. No. He missed like an insane amount of the endings.
Did he pick like all the happy stuff?
No. He got one of the earlier endings. He missed like probably 2/3 of all the content of the episode. Like, no, you have to continue. You have to continue. Because, yeah, that was not it. There's so much more. And in a lot of ways, Bandersnatch requires you to get an ending and go back and keep going because you can't get some of the other endings without that ending.
Yeah. Or if you're like me, you just killed the computer every time.
Because I think the ending he got was as soon as he went back at one point in the memory.
Yeah. And
he went with his mother on the train.
Oh, okay. So
that's the ending he got.
Yeah.
And just stop there. Like, that, yeah, I mean, that's a very, like, butterfly effect ending, but that's there, you're missing a lot. There's some insane things that happen. Pick Netflix.
Yes.
Pick Netflix. Because that was fun right to itself. But anyway, we're moving to spoilers.
If you haven't seen Bandersnatch, or if you haven't played Bandersnatch, you can't really watch Bandersnatch.
It's an interactive movie.
Go experience Bandersnatch.
But give yourself like 3 hours.
Yes.
Say, hey, I have 3 hours to kill, and I'm going to experience everything that can be Bandersnatch, and do it that way.
It's great.
Because you need time.
It's really worth it.
I mean, you can watch it in a shorter period and get an ending like Robert did, and be like, well, you got something, but you didn't get the full experience.
No. So, now that we've gone through that, hopefully that means you guys have kind of skedaddled and gone and watched the other episode.
Please go watch this episode.
Watch
it was
Black
fantastic.
Museum.
It's really, really, really good. And in spoilers. So, other than having all these cool little throwbacks and everything, the overall narrative of this particular episode is something completely different.
Yes, it's one of those ones where it's like, you see one guy's story, and that's a piece of the museum. You see a couple's story, that's a piece of the museum. And then you see the final story, which turns out to be the reason for the entire episode even existing.
But it's how all of this built.
Yes.
I mean, we started off with the which one would we start off with? The doctor. The being able to simulate sensation.
Yes.
We get that first, and we learn about that. And then we learn about copying people's consciousness and moving into other things.
Yes.
And then you want to combine consciousness and feeling into the third thing. Which
was a guy in the electric chair.
Yes.
Pretty much a convicted murderer. The guy clearly believes he did it. That's it. But there's still doubt.
There's no saying about doubt.
Yeah.
So, yes, we get a hologram, basically copies someone's consciousness, put them into a computer, projecting their hologram and making that hologram feel.
Yes.
So all these stories built into this one thing, which he is the main attraction.
Yes, he is the main attraction. People pay at this tourist trap to go in and electrocute him.
Yes.
Have him experience that electric chair over and over, but only for 10 seconds, because anything higher than that, and it
15. No, 15.
15.
Will fry him.
And then, but 10 is the happy threshold.
Yeah, happy threshold, as he likes to say.
Yes.
So yes, we follow Letitia into this museum. We hear all these stories. It's insanely hot inside said museum.
Yes.
So she offers Rollo some water. And then once we get to the main attraction, Rollo's not doing so well.
He is red in the face. He is just overheating like crazy. He can barely talk. And then it kind of just hits him that he's like, I'm not really. And she just looks at him and goes, hey, if you need to sit down, it might be better.
Yep, it's like, well, you conveniently left out other parts of the story about this guy in the electric chair, about all the protests and all the doubt surrounding his conviction and all this stuff.
And how once people started protesting against everything, your place pretty much got shut. No one wanted to come anymore because the whole ethical stuff started coming up. It was no longer morally right to bring your kids and stuff to this place where this guy's consciousness was being tortured over and over and over again. And so then he was starting to give people getting paid large amounts of money for people to push that threshold.
Yes, and it gets pushed to 14 at one point, and he kind of gets pushed to the simulation gets pushed to a vegetated state, which is weird. Yeah. So he's kind of vegetated and not doing well.
Yes, and then you kind of throughout this kind of see her emotions change. Like first she's curious about all this, and then when she learns about the story of the bear, which I mean, if you've seen the episode, you know the woman is pretty much trapped inside this bear.
Yes.
You kind of start to see her emotions change. She really feels for this woman inside this bear. And then finally getting to that last thing, you can really see her emotion. She's no longer into it. She's no longer even playing that she's into it. She is solely focused on this guy. And then you find out that that's her daddy.
Yeah. It's her father. Yes. And that her mother saw him like this and afterwards pretty much killed herself.
Yes. Committed suicide, and it was her that found her mother.
Yes. So she went here, she sabotaged the air conditioning, and she gave him, basically, I assume, poisoned water.
Yes, because when you first arrived at this place, she had to go through a detector. He had to go through all her bag. You see him take the water, put it out, and just go through her bag and then put it back in. It's like he wouldn't have suspected that.
Do we assume the poison that she used on him is the poison we see in the first flashback of the senator? Because it was brought up that it was a super rare poison.
Yeah, like Russian stuff.
Russian stuff.
Yeah.
But it's pointed out, and it is poison.
Yes.
And that's where the guy gets his first taste of death.
Yes.
But we move past it, but she also poisons him. Can
we
assume?
It could be.
Just maybe.
Considering everything by the end of it, because, I mean, as you said, if you're here, you've seen the episode, so it's like the one guy was experiencing all this. He was the one who got the experiences, but the second one included someone living inside your head, and then also now living inside another thing. And so finally at the end that all gets wrapped up because
apparently they took her mother, or she took her mother and put her in her own head.
Yes.
So the mother is getting to see all this as well.
Yes.
So both of them are getting satisfaction for this guy who, for the most part, you don't see him as an evil villain the whole episode. He's kind of sleazy. He's not particularly a great guy.
No.
He's the used car salesman fella. They're like, I don't really like you. I don't like what you're doing. But you're not like an evil dude.
You're not like purposely selling vehicles with broken brakes. Except that first one. That first one, it was a little pushing it. You took an implant about this big. But of course you didn't know how far the guy was going to take it. So,
but by the end of the episode, we have him really went a little too far with this guy, the hologram.
Yes, his mind it just kind of snapped at that point. He had gotten fired because of the teddy bear. The teddy bear, it was illegal to move people's consciousness and put it inside stuff. And once they found about the teddy bear, they're like, "Nope, you're gone. We have to fire you."
He gets fired. That's why he opens up the museum.
But
even by the end, he technically has not really done anything criminally punishable by law.
Yes.
He's done a lot of sleazy stuff for sure. So by the end, yes, we don't technically mind him being killed. But really, should he have been killed? She technically murders a guy because he tortured a hologram.
I don't know.
Which was legal. Because the guy signed it over.
It was legal, but we were never given a guarantee on whether or not he actually paid. Because remember, he said, "I'm doing this and your family's paid for life." We never got that guarantee from either side that his family actually got money for it. So we don't know if he went... Because he was already fired by then. How was he supposed to pay out this guy?
Well, he did it for the museum.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, his museum was okay, but...
Well, it was all for the museum. It wasn't for the other company. At this point, he'd already been fired. But it was legally contracted. Again, we don't get any answer. But because she doesn't specifically mention that they never got any of the money, I assume they did get the money.
Maybe.
But the mother killed herself, and maybe it was only for the mother, so he doesn't have to pay anymore. So, again, I don't know. That's a little iffy. But again...
Because that was my first thought is, whoa, you went to you got fired. You have this museum thing, yes, but I don't see it making enough money for you to be able to pay a family off for the rest of their fucking life.
It did in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then the mother killed herself, so he didn't actually owe her. Probably didn't owe anything anymore. See, I don't know. They didn't go into that little specific detail, which in the end isn't very important.
Either way, it was a revenge killing.
It was.
Because it was not only for her father, but because her mother actually saw the hologram of her husband, and her husband was so, like, even though it was just a consciousness, a copied consciousness, it was in such a vegetative state, it didn't even know who she was, really. It couldn't interact. And so probably witnessing her husband going through the jail thing, witnessing her husband going through the electric chair, and then having to see him like that pushed her over the edge.
So yes, the daughter blames him for the mother's death and for the father being the way he is. Yeah. So, yes, in the end, it is a revenge killing. And again, we don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for him.
And then, of course, you have the fact that he not only has this consciousness trapped over here as a vegetative hologram, he has one in a teddy bear.
Again, they solidified how much they really make us dislike him by the end. They really made sure we didn't like him.
Legally, probably not. He probably shouldn't have been killed. Ethically?
A lot of weird stuff.
My morals are a little dark.
And then she takes the teddy bear with the girl.
I think that was cool. Yes. I think that her not leaving the teddy bear in there was good. Even though, technically, if the teddy bear would have been burned when the consciousness has been deleted and she's set free?
Probably, but we can maybe assume that she may be able to move that consciousness to something different.
Oh, that's true. It seems like she does have the tech knowledge for it.
She seems to know quite a bit on the technology side, so...
Maybe. We're good.
So my assumption is that she was going to actually either bring her to Tuckersoft, which would be interesting and good for her, or put it to something else, which will also be good for her. So in the end, we have Takeisha's character... Lakeisha. I say Takeisha. Letitia's character... helping revenge on the person she feels responsible, giving her mother some kind of closure, and helping this girl in the teddy bear.
Happy ending!
So, in a lot of ways, it's kind of a happy ending. Yeah. But, in a lot of ways, this was a very dark and twisted episode.
Cool, because you think about it. The guy's career. You have the first doctor, whose career was pretty much declining. This guy comes in and says, I have something that could help. He
takes advantages of situations.
Yeah, his career boomed, but then he went, woo!
He went a little nutso.
And then you have a second one where it's like, okay, your wife is in a coma. I can help you with that. Implant her consciousness into your head and never stops to go, you're going to have problems one day in your relationship.
Well, it was all about testing stuff. Yeah. And he was taking advantage of people in bad situations.
Car salesman.
But, again, in the first 2 stories, I can't possibly... Without the third story, it would be a very unjustified killing in the end. The third story is where it pisses you off enough that you're fine with her doing what she does.
Yes.
Because it's almost torture what this guy's doing to this poor fella. He goes too far by the third one, which is technically what you could say by his 2 stories. They eventually went too far.
Yes. Because when you think about it, you had mentioned, like, at one point during the second story, they have a choice. He's like, well, I do have some options. You can delete her out of your head. You can delete her. And the guy's immediately like, no. His girlfriend is like, okay. And he's like, no, that's pretty much killing her.
Well,
and even you were like, yeah.
Because it is. But to the woman, she doesn't see this person.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't hear this person. As far as she's concerned, this woman is an imaginary person inside this guy's head. Yeah. But to him, he hears everything she says. She's still the same person he knew.
Yeah.
Because he experiences it. And if they would take her and put her into some type of AI or something where everybody else could... If she was a hologram, she'd practically be a real person. Yes. But that also comes back to like the moral conundrums of what is consciousness, what is a person, and how does that... If you take a digital clone and you start putting into things, does that make it real?
And so that's the thing, is if you wrap all that and then... Now you have a man's consciousness who is forever living the last horrible moments of his life over and over again for other people's amusement. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, is that they were given souvenir keychains with bits and pieces of his consciousness in that final moment, being tortured forever.
Yes, yes. So again, they do enough to make sure you really don't feel bad for this man by the end.
No.
Even if it's right or wrong. But everything about the episode is in the gray.
Yes.
There's no very clear black or white situation. There's no right or wrong. There's a lot of moral conundrums that play in that gray area in between. What do you think is the right thing to do? And how far would you go?
And I think that is one of the main things that makes this episode so great. Yes, we have so many Easter eggs. Yes, we have great acting. The stories were interesting. All this stuff. But I think the biggest thing is the discussions that are formed based around this episode.
Yes, there's a lot of cool stuff in this episode. So, that is why I got a 5 out of 5. No companion cubes lost.
Good job, Kimmy.
Fantastic episode. Cannot recommend it enough.
Go watch.
I mean, again, it's definitely it's one of the best episodes of Black Mirror, hands down.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone can really.
A little bit of something for everybody.
Yes. So, the real question, what are we doing next week? What I want to do is go through and rank all Black Mirror episodes. So, it'll be an episode. You look at the list of episodes, rank them however you want.
I'm horrible.
Rank them however you want. Yeah. Your least favorite to your favorite.
Okay.
I'll take mine. I'm going to rank mine, least favorite to favorite. We'll compare, and then we'll say, like, the... Number one of each one of our gets like 10 points and they work down, and we'll combine and see where it comes at. Be kind of like a weird definitive ranking from us, what we think of the whole series, period.
Are we going to include Bandersnatch?
That was my next question, too.
Okay.
I think we should, personally.
Yeah.
I do think it's a pretty awesome episode.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a movie more than an episode.
It's a interactive movie, which I thought was amazingly cool.
But the thing is, it might as well just be called an interactive episode, because half these episodes are somewhere like an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And this could be as short as that. So I say I think we should totally throw it in on a board. And like I said, least favorite to favorite, and however many they are. What is there? There's.
It's a lot of fucking episodes.
3, 4, 6, 6, 3, and 1.
Okay.
So 3, 4, 7. 6 and 6 is 12. It's 19. 20. It's 20 episodes. So we'll say number 1 gets 20 points. Last one gets 1 point.
Okay.
And then we'll combine and kind of see where they lie out. So what will be our definitive Beyond Your Focus ranking?
I'm going to be on Wiki a lot, because there's going to be a lot of ones I have to go back through and reread what the hell happened. So.
Well, do what you got to do. I mean, I'm sure it'll come to you pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, we've watched all of these in the last, 6 months. So... I lied.
Dude, I
lied. We've watched all these from last year.
I was about to say, because We were switching off and on.
Yeah, that was it. We switched on and off for a long time.
And then there's also the fact that I can barely remember yesterday, so we're doing great.
But I think it'll be a fun little experiment since we've gone through, and you have to include season 5.
I don't want to.
You have to. Which I didn't count season 5 just then.
Yeah, I know.
So that's an additional 3, so 23.
Episodes.
So we'll figure it all out. But it'll be a fun, definitive ranking of all 5 seasons of Black Mirror and the movie.
I know what my number 1 and 2.
Oh, again, I know my top level too. So I mean,
no, I just meant like bottom 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know our bottoms. I think we're going to agree on a lot. But what I'm more interested in, not the favorite and the least, but all the middle ground.
Ones, yeah.
That's what I'm going to be curious about.
Okay.
Where those are going to net out.
We'll do this.
We'll see you next time, and it'll be a fun episode. It won't actually be reviewing an episode, but it'll be reviewing the series as a whole as we stand
let you know
down.
Where we go from there.
Yeah. Once we figure it out. But as always, you can reach me at Stars Untraveled, reach Amanda at KZ Pop, reach the show at Beyond Our Focus, everywhere including YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Maybe.
In alternate realities.
If only.
Other consciousness.
Sure, we got to be there.
Consciousness?
Why not?
Why is that word so hard?
I mean, I think we should totally do. I would take it. I put myself in everything I can. Last forever.
Yeah, into little screaming baubles people can carry it around.
I mean, why not have my face forever?
Oh, Jesus.
But any final thoughts before we bounce?
Make sure you read all the fine lines and ask plenty of questions before you decide to get these random ass procedures, people.
I'm not going to. I need to live as long as possible, do whatever we have to do.
You're going to end up in some backwoods museum.
It'd be alright. Live as long as possible. Till next time. Long days and pleasant nights.